Hello everybody, HeirofCarthage here, back in another Sub-Commanders battle. This was from the same event from the Caledonies reveal, and I figured this would be a fun battle to watch because there's a lot of terrain in this battle, and it gives you all a good idea of the importance of terrain and how it can play into a battle, and kind of maybe some to-dos and not to-dos. But if you look over here, big terrain here, good terrain over here off to our left, a hill, woods. Our opponents have some woods and terrain back here as well. So terrain can play a big role in Rome 2. It's going to help a defender if they get up on it and they're able to hold. It can create mistakes, for instance, if two people rush for terrain and then one player manages to get the upper hand there. It can create all kinds of issues in a battle, which is cool because in real life battles, although not the same as what we see portrayed in the game, terrain does play a big role, obviously, in real-life military battles. So it's cool to see how it can also play a big role in the game. Now check this out. Our team, which was Carthage, Caledonies, Pontus, and the Etruscans, look at this. The Nervii laid a giant ambush for us, and look at what they have immediately captured. Terrain. They have gone for this giant hill right behind us, and now that leaves us in this awkward position. We saw them, and we were making decisions. I don't have my telestration tools on, but we were initially running up here to capture this hill in front of our enemies. But now if we do that, our opponent secures a foothold behind us. And if we fall back and run up this hill, we get in a fight with these guys while we then get charged by their other army. So ultimately we had a couple of options, which was, do we try and deal with the guerrilla deployment quickly before they get support? Or do we just fall all the way back and take the sure shot of coming back to our good terrain and seeing if we can dislodge our opponent through some patience or some skirmishing? We decide to get in a hurry and come after the Caledonies, and we will see what happens because of these decisions. You can see over here that Carthage and Pontus have some skirmish cavalry. They're going to try and do some damage. Guerrilla swordsmen are very low armor. They are potentially very vulnerable to skirmish fire. We've got the rest of our cavalry here. So Carthage, I believe, is going to be rolling player 4. I'm player 2. The Etruscans are player 1, and Pontus is player 3. Now, just to run that down for the folks not as familiar, player 1 is melee infantry, 2 is spears and missiles, 3 is cavalry, and 4 is a flex player that can do a little bit of all, and you kind of have to decide how to play it. Now, as my Caledonies armies, I've got a lot of Caledoni bowmen and Highland archers kind of in the back. The Highland archers, just to cause extra damage. I got basically a bunch of cheap archers. I have a ton of them, and then some spears to protect them, and a Highland noble for my general. I'm liking the Highland noble as well. It's an interesting one. It's an archer slash melee unit all in one. I could do tremendous damage from range with my army, but it's also very squishy. The Etruscans have a bunch of Italian swords up front mixed with Umbrian hillmen. Umbrian hillmen cross terrain with no penalty, so they are quite quick on uneven terrain. A pretty solid pick for this map. And if you see any Volscans, Volsci are going to have Scare. Ligurian warriors are just really powerful attack for a mid-tier sword unit. And then, of course, we have an Italian noble infantry, which is a nice, powerful unit there as well. So far, our attempts to maybe catch the Nervii ambushers out is not gone well. And Parthia has now sent cavalry, which includes camel spears and noble blood cav. But at this point, the Gallic hunters are set up high on the hill, and we are in big trouble. And really, the better play would be to fall back. Parthia, though, has already come and harried our left flank, though. So a nice play by Parthia. They've got noble horse archers and armored horse archers over here facing off against 3 of our horse skirmishers. And then as far as the rest of our cavalry goes, there's a Pontic Royal Cav, Noble Blood Cav, and then as far as Carthage goes, there's Mercenary Numidians, Celtic Light Horse, a Bodyguard, which is Hannibal as the general, and then a Mercenary Numidian Noble, which of course those are very dangerous late in the game. I have positioned my spears to try and help hold, so we decide to kind of push over here and try and hold this flank while facing off against the enemy. We'll see how this goes. Carthage has these Mercenary Tribal Slingers, by the way. It's a unit that was added to them, give them a little bit of more flexibility. I'm going to move up my bowmen and look for some targets. I'm hoping to pepper infantry targets and see if I can give us an advantage in the infantry department to help us get a win here. So I'm mostly going to be ignoring enemy missiles and trying to do damage to key enemy melee targets. You can see here the Galatian sword. I'm going to take a face full of shots here, and I've got my Highland pikes to try and help hold these units back. You can see that Galatian sword, it's absolutely ripped here. And then I'm going to start targeting this Galatian Legionary and try and repeat, and then this Tetrarch Guard's moving up, and again, I'm going to try and repeat the same thing there. So we'll use our cheap units to hold back theirs, and then, like I said, I'm going to use my archers to see if I can do some critical damage here early in this battle. Their archers are Persian Lights. They've got a lot of those, and then they've also probably got some slingers mixed in, because you can only have max 3 of the same unit. Over here, a bit of a cavalry skirmish breaks out here. The Camel Spearmen hit by the Noble Blood Cav, but the Nervii up here absolutely destroying that Noble Blood Cav, and then Parthia's got more Camel Spearmen coming in. Over in the middle, I am able to do a little bit of damage to some of the Galatian Legionaries, and the Tetrarch Guard right now is being fed a steady diet of Caledoni arrows. You can see this mercenary Ligurian swordsman got a pretty good charge into them as well. So we're doing our best to rip apart the Tetrarch Guard fast, and you can see some of those Galatian swords did not fare very well in early combat because of the archer damage done. We've got a long ways to go. There's another Galatian Legionary up here, and with those Nervii on our flank, though, it's pretty rough shape for us, but Thunderbolt here is going to slow a lot of them down. Nice use of Intimidate to prevent the Nervii from being able to use their general abilities, but because I'm trying to defend a downhill slope, it's not likely to go well for me. My Highland archers are already under pressure by Parthia, so this is not good to be losing archers this early. And then as far as the infantry fight goes, I need to be shifting some of these spears in, but of course I'm very concerned about Parthia being on the flank. We just find ourselves in a tough position. Now fortunately the Tetrarch Guard does kind of buy the farm here, which is good for us. And then these Galatian swords are also being slowed down considerably, but if the pressure gets through to my archers, we're not going to be able to continue to cause this kind of damage. And at this point, we're already in a very hairy predicament because the Nervii are pushing down our flank. We've got very little to stop them at the moment. Our cavalry is doing a good job of trying to slow them down, harry and harass them. But at any moment, if the enemy cavalry busts through, then our archers are going to go down. When the archers go down, basically any prayer that we had left will be gone. So my team is fighting an uphill battle, quite literally at the moment, and this is not where you want to find yourself. So I mentioned the decisions earlier in this battle. This position back here should have been the fallback, and now we get to the benefit of having to fight uphill because of some poor decision making. You can see me trying to fall back archers as I get the opportunity. I'm trying to hold the enemy at bay with spear units, anything I can to buy time and to continue to pour archer fire into our enemies here. We've got to do the damage. My Lowland Fianna are not going to hold long in this case. My Highland Nobles are, again, a capable melee unit, but it's best if these units can spend their ammunition before having to get in and fight, and that is what I would prefer to do. A nice use of Intimidate by our opponents to make sure that we can't use general abilities, so they are doing a very good job here. And you can see this Parthian, we can't ignore these armored horse archers. They are incredibly dangerous to a lot of our units. Even my spearmen here would struggle to take on that many horse archers, so Carthage is going to help, but we also have the threat of the Nervii still up on this hill. I mean, my Lowland Fianna are doing absolutely amazing work up here to get this many kills and last as long as they have, but they will fall, and Carthage is doing their best to hold this off too, but they are getting shredded by Gallic hunters up here. So this deployment of Nervii is one of the better executed ambush setups that I've seen so far in these giant team battles of subcommanders. It is hard to pull off a successful ambush, but if you've ever wanted to see one, the Nervii are absolutely pulling it off right now. And then Parthia's support to them to make it hard for us to come in and crush them is just doing that. So at this point, we are being strangled. And you can see the air and the life coming out of our team. Air meaning A-I-R, not H-E-I-R, but air is being strangled out as well. My archers are being pushed back into here, and there's just very little we can do. I see an Ozet Knight charging forward, and I'm hoping to put some shots into them, so you're going to see me start to focus my archer fire here, but I'm being pressured. I can't stand and fight for very long, and I just don't have anything to hold here. So I need to hit the Ozet Knight, but I'm just not going to be able to put a ton of shots into it, unfortunately, before I have to retreat and fall back. You can see Pontus doing their level best here to help keep me safe, so I'm going to fall back again, but we've already got a mighty horse behind us. And at this point, there is nowhere for me to run, and there is no way for me to defend this ball of archers. This delectable, juicy ball of goodness is going to be eaten up by mighty horse, infantry, and probably Parthian cavalry all alike. So we are getting wrapped up hard in this case. My poor Caledonians, very young, so new to the game, yet I sent them out to be butchered here. But this is an excellent video to demonstrate the use of terrain, and it also demonstrates, I think it's really cool that the guerrilla deployment was also used in conjunction with the terrain. So the guerrilla deployment helped the enemy team capture this terrain early, which then forced a bad decision from us, which then resulted in this huge roll-up and a huge victory here for our opponents. So I think a couple of things to take away from this one. One, when you come to play the battle, be aware of the terrain. If the terrain looks bad, do not charge up it. Fall back. We should have fallen back to this position and let our opponents maybe come a little closer to us so that we could have fallen back and fought from something better. It at least would have given us the opportunity to try and force them into a better position for us to fight, rather than us ultimately just feeding them a great position to fight from. Not something that we should have been allowing folks to do. So in any case, that's going to be pretty much it. You can see the rest of my forces getting mopped up in an excellent victory here by the red team. Again, can't say enough about how well the Nervii deployed, and then how quickly Parthia came to support them. It created a 1-2 punch that led to that bad decision, and you can see the body count up here as a testament to the price we paid. And my attempts to shoot up the enemy infantry were not enough. We did cause a good amount of damage to the Galatians, but ultimately not enough. We couldn't protect the flanks, and a defeat for us. It says a valiant defeat, but I would say it's more like a sound defeat. I did manage to pop off 500 kills before dying, but that's little consolation whenever the team just gets absolutely plowed. Vortigern Sauce here just absolutely went bananas with the Nervii, and it paid off huge. So an excellent army pick, an excellent deployment and positioning, and then Warlord with the timely support, Massamax getting a ton of kills with his Galatians, always a solid pick there, and then of course Seleucids with their support. There was nothing we could do about it. But I appreciate all the players, Magnus, Alexander again, Sol, and Jaw, Warlord, Vortigern, and Massamax. Appreciate them all for a fun battle, and hopefully this one taught you all some cool lessons too. Sometimes there's lessons to be learned when you lose, and you can take it forward. HeirofCarthage signing out. I will see you soon.